Hello and welcome back. I don't know how much of the ending you got of that first video. Clearly technical issues trying to get this message out to you for the last almost 36 hours now. But at the end of it, I was saying to you that we have the ability to see our planet shielded so that its magnetic field isn't completely weakened, because Earth will be reacting in response to what's going on in the planetary laws of nature. And you and I can act according to our laws of nature and put the shield back up around the planet to protect it. We are the rebels of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even a little bit of the 90s. I want you to remember how you felt as a young teen or a young adult, that rebel without a cause. I want you to rally that spirit within you and that passion. And I want you to place it in your adult, mature mindset as a rebel with a cause. Because we can change the world as we know it and see it. We can help to protect this cyclical event from being catastrophic as it has been in the past. Historically documented. So, with your inner strength and your endurance and your creative abilities and your free will and power of thought, you can change the world. All it takes is a spark. Now, I want to share with you the warning of the predicted meteor storm. If I can make this a little bit bigger.
With so much happening around the world, it's getting harder and harder to share information, especially when that information is not good.
There is now information coming out that we had 3 separate clusters of rock and debris that are now being tracked heading towards Earth.
According to new reports, March may be a very eye-opening month.
Now word has it that these 3 waves are coming from 3 separate locations. And the sun very well may absorb one of them, which is a whole nother story in itself, if it does.
Please pay attention. And go check this channel out. They're really very good and informative. It's called the Confidential Report, I think. Yeah.
Now what makes these debris fields strange, they are coming in a corkscrew rotation, which is causing a lot of problems for our satellites to actually track. It's almost as if they were rotating or orbiting around a larger object, and then that larger object was moved out of the way, causing the sun to then take over with its gravity, causing the inertia to actually change within these objects. Now, what these will do when they hit, that's the question. Until they do, I guess there's not really an answer to be given other than we may see some interesting phenomenon coming up between now and the 15th of March is what's being said.
In the month of March, when we take a real close look at something, because we have to, there's a small debris problem we have to deal with prior to the 15th of March, right? We actually have very small objects being tracked inbound straight to into the inner solar system. And it looks like Earth is in the target. Now, here's what makes it strange. These things have a corkscrew rotation coming in, so they're not coming in a straight line. That's not what's happening.
Now, let me just reiterate. They are coming inbound toward the inner solar system from beyond the Kuiper Belt. And they're traveling in a spiral formation around a larger object that's bringing them in. We have a comet that is going to be presenting itself on the day of the solar eclipse that allegedly will not be the only thing we see in our skies that day. Allegedly, we will also see Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and oh yeah, the moon's pair of small satellites that we never see in the daytime sky, ever. Any of those things. Never in recorded history have we seen those planetary bodies in the sky. And who are we standing on the ground on planet Earth to say that it's anything other than what they tell us we're seeing? Right?
Happening. It's almost as though something very heavy was in between or in the middle of these things, and they were orbiting something. Then that heavy influence was pulled out, which means now the gravitational force of the sun is altering all those vectors, causing inertia to change within all these objects, but they're probably headed here.
But because they're not headed in a straight line, that is what's causing a problem for our technology here on Earth to actually track them. Our technology isn't made to catch objects that are spinning in a corkscrew type manner. They're just not made to do that.
They're so small and they were moving in such an odd form, right, that some of the software did not really capture them. It wasn't looking for anything that moved like that.
Now, these are being referred to as a pre-cluster event that may hit our atmosphere. These are just a prelim to the actual meteor storm that is coming, and coming very soon.
Let's just say this is a pre-cluster to the actual meteor storm we're going to entertain. We will have a meteor storm, but this cluster came out of nowhere.
Now, according to the reports that are coming in,
Out of
they
nowhere.
are starting to talk about having to evacuate people off of the International Space Station because of these clusters and because of the
Really?
meteor storm that we are going to see.
The trajectories are beginning to alter, right? Because they're going to have to deal with quite a few things. They're going to have to get people off the International Space Station.
And in case you don't know this already, our defense satellites have been very, very busy lately. They have already been taking objects out of the sky before they actually make impact. And they are doing that using projectile beams. Now, they put this into place not long after Neil deGrasse Tyson discussed that we needed something just like this for this exact reason. Maybe some of you remember those talks. Maybe you remember Neil deGrasse Tyson giving a lot of warnings.
It's not a problem if they're out there, provided we know where they are and how to track them. Excuse me, provided we know where they are, how to track them, and how to deflect them. That third part of that is an issue right now, because it's not good enough to just know you're about to die by an asteroid.
Yeah,
you want to try to do something about it.
We have something that's is almost like a projectile beam, you could call it, right? That when it hits an object, that object will explode and it will pulverize that object, right? As soon as it hits the atmosphere, that means most of it.
Now, I want you to just think for a minute before we go back to this video. I want you to think for a minute about what that would look like from down here on the earth if we're watching the skies and we could see some inkling of it. Would it maybe look like all of this bizarre, crazy heat lightning kind of stuff that's going on above the clouds since about, I don't know, August or September of last year that we've never seen before? Lots of people have said that looks like some kind of space war, like something's being shot at and blowing up. You have to put all the pieces together.
Most of it turns into ash, and it will fall to the earth, right? So it's just ash. The ash may be of a different nature, but it hits the ash, and the ash falls in quite a big area. Like West Virginia and Maryland is having right now, white particles falling all over the place right now as we speak from certain impacts that have taken place over your heads in the daytime.
How many times in the past 6 or 8 months, 10 months, have you seen a TikTok video, a YouTube video, something of somebody saying, my car is covered in some kind of weird stuff that looks like rain or looks like snow or looks like pollen, but it's not any of those things? You know, some of it was oily, some of it was gelatinous, but it wasn't stuff that normally falls from our sky. I bet if you looked at some data and you did a little comparing, it would correlate with those weird heat lightning events that we've been seeing.
This is very important because in the daytime,
And causing allergies early and colds. I don't know about the rest of you, but me and my family have never been as often sick, like sick as often as we have in the past 8 or 10 months. It seems like just as soon as we get over some kind of little cold or sinus infection or something, we're right back at it doing it again. Why is that? Why is that? I mean, my children and I are quite healthy and eat really healthy foods and take really good vitamins and herbs and minerals and all of those things. You know, my kids eat elderberries every single day. They're full of zinc. Like, there's no reason that we should be sick. We take a teaspoon of honey every day. We have lemon juice. We have all kinds of stuff that's really great for keeping your immune system strong. But it's fighting something that it's not familiar with. It's foreign to it. This would explain what this foreign thing is that's making people sick.
daytime. If we don't have a clear day, it's very difficult to see any explosions in space. Even when we have a clear day, it's very difficult to see an explosion in space. But I can guarantee you the explosions are happening all the time. There's a buildup of inbounds of both asteroids and other things are starting to build up out there too. In fact, the very nature of what these satellites are doing is spooky on one end, but it's necessary on the other. And people are soon to see all of this with their own eye. They won't need an interpreter.
Now, what exactly is in these particles and ash and particulates that are falling from our atmosphere?
There you go. See?
That's the question.
There's some of those video
That's the
clips.
$1 million question. How are they affecting us and the Earth as this continues to happen?
The problem will be people are
not
going to have
snow.
to deal with the effects of
It's not
toxins
pollen.
coming out of the atmosphere.
It's not
That's going
rain
to wipe
that's
out quite a few
gelatinous
people, and I'll tell you why.
or
Because
oily.
it says all the green grass was burned up. For all the green grass to burn up, there was a simulation performed on this. in order for all the green grass to burn up, right? Now every landmass does not have grass. In order for all the grass to burn up, you're looking at a major portion. If it all burns, that's an event that is on a scale we've not seen before. So you're looking at at least, at least, I'd say 1/5 of humanity. These are all the events that you would expect from a very large inbound object, from a secondary star coming into our solar system. These are all the effects you would see.
And I'll just interject there one more time to also remind you all of a video I did about 3-4 weeks ago, where Mr. BBB 333, Mr. BB 333, however you say his name, he showed a picture of, or a video feed from the Soho Observatory that watches the sun. And somebody, NASA or somebody, claimed that the object that came in between the lens of the camera and the sun itself was Earth. But it wasn't Earth, because it looked just like a sun without a lens on it. And the sun did not get out from behind the lens. The lens was fixed on the sun itself. Something flew in between that Soho and the sun that looks just like that picture he just showed you of what a dwarf sun looks like. Exactly like it. The evidence is astounding for it being here and being real. The good news is, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Many meteorites hitting the Earth.
I think what'll be interesting about these events will be how the government decides to tell us that they didn't see these things coming, considering a satellite can read the date off a penny sitting on a sidewalk on Earth. But as far as they're concerned, they can't see a balloon in the sky at 35,000 feet.
If something were to come and the government didn't tell anybody, people would be angry unless they believed the government had no ability to see it. Now, how will they convince people that they have no ability to see meteorites coming in? Maybe not being able to spot a balloon. That was highly disturbing.
And let me also just say right there that now, since we've had these whole spy balloon things flying over that they're shooting down, there's been more people looking up at the sky. And the amount of UFO sightings has actually increased by about 2,000 reports a month. That's pretty considerable. So I'll just play devil's advocate for a minute, and I'll ask, what if the spy balloon stuff, the alleged spy balloon stuff, is simply to get you to look up more often so that you see for yourself what's coming and you can better prepare? Just say it.
Disturbing to find out that they said to people they did not know what it was. They didn't know what it was or who it was from. That was very disturbing, because I know that
And
was
they
a
can't
big 100%.
tell us.
That was a 3,000%
They
lie.
can't.
Position of the balloon classified?
Bill, right now, what we're not going to do is get into a hour-by-hour location of the balloon. Again, we're monitoring it closely. As I mentioned, right now,
How nice of him to fly a little
center of the continental United States. That's about as
other one
specific
over
as
there to
I'm
bounce
going
right into
I
his
understand it being
face.
convenient, but does the public not have a right to know if a
The
balloon
public
is over their
certainly
state?
has the ability to look up in the sky and see where the balloon is.
Saying they can't track a balloon, or they can't tell the identity. Even the balloon that they
Did you
blew
hear
up,
what he said?
that was a civilian balloon. That was purposed. They did that because people.
Convenient, but does the public not have a right to know if a
The
balloon
public
is over their
certainly
state?
has the ability to look up in the sky and and see where the balloon is.
Saying they can't track a balloon.
You
or they
have the
can't tell
ability to look up in the
even
sky
the
and
second,
see where
even
it
the
is.
balloon that they blew up, that was a civilian balloon. That was purposed. They did that because people instantly began. They can see social media too. Right after they did that, they said, we don't have the systems that everybody said we had, because they can't even shoot down. They shot 2 missiles, not one, at a cost of $532,000 per missile. They shot 2 of them. You dropped a quarter out of an aircraft, and they release lock a Patriot missile, it would take that quarter out. Okay, so how could they not hit a balloon? And in the missile systems on an aircraft, right? This is, we're not talking about Vietnam era missile pods. That's not what we're talking about. Guided munitions, right? That will track a target, heat or not, and just kill it. You're not talking about some archaic weapon without guidance. Right? These systems have very sophisticated guidance systems on there, and they're equipped with AI. So, but the public bought it, didn't they? Because if people believe that, they're not going to blame the government when a bunch of things fall into their homes and set the grounds on fire. They came out with this UFO disclosure stuff, right? Which was not disclosure. They came out with these reports that didn't pick up the momentum they thought. It just didn't. It was on fire for about, I don't know, a couple days, and then it died down. They're saying because of Christians. Nobody was looking up. Nobody. So this first balloon goes over and people were looking up, but then they instantly stopped. Not a lot of people are looking up. They don't have expectations. All of a sudden, you see a bunch of balloons all over the world flying, right? Guess what happened? After they shot down the second balloon, UFO sightings went up 2,000%. And that means they have people's attention to look up again.
It's almost as if they wanted to create a want for you to look into the sky to see what you could observe. Why would they do that? Why would they want you to be desperately hoping that maybe you would catch something in the sky?
And it's sparking more stories.
Sorry about that.
More this, that, and the other. Now, in the spiritual realm, Satan can't do it. Satan can't do anything. Demons can't do anything unless we empower them to do it. Very real thing. We have to empower. In order for us to empower something like that, or empower Satan to come in our front door, we have to have a desire behind some of his stuff. If a person does not, that's like the Bible says a man is drawn away and tempted of his own lust. So if it's not within us, we're not going to go for it. But if a desire could be created in us to ask questions, to be inquisitive, to want to see him, because that's exactly what's happening now. People say, well, I want to see it. And they have no idea what they're asking, but they want to see it.
I don't necessarily share his views and opinions on that part of it. However, I do feel like people should ask questions and look up. Think for themselves. Believe in themselves. And trust in what Jesus taught you. That you too can go forth and do the same great works as he, and more. I'm going to leave it right there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do so and hit that notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Because as you will come to know, if you don't already, I am in the business of enlightening you to all truths so that we can connect the dots and put the pieces of the puzzle together to see a clear and concise picture of not just our world and our universe, but of who we are. Because we are who we've been waiting for. And I am the beacon that will lead you home. This is Beacon News Broadcast. Good night.